Hello, and welcome to Come Play With Us, a spooky storytelling podcast. My name is Leila, and I'm joined by my evil twin,
Ruby. We're actually both the evil twin. We're both writers with non-writer day jobs. We believe in the power of great storytelling, so we've invited guests with the challenge of weaving a tale about real-life hauntings and paranormal activities with the sole purpose of scaring the shit out of us.
We'll rate them to see how they've done. Our ratings go a little something like this: scared shitless, some chills, and I think I'll be able to sleep tonight. Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. As if they're watching TV.
Hello, thank you for listening in.
And today, Ruby's going to tell Stephanie, our frequent guest and my good friend, a haunting
Our
tale.
awesome guest.
Our awesome guest. A haunting tale. So, Ruby, what's it about? Oh, first, you want us to tell everyone.
I always want everyone to know what we're
stage.
doing.
So we can't see Ruby because she's in such a dark room. We
can
kind of see her teeth smiling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a medium lit room, but I'm all by myself.
Oh, yeah, Stephanie, what's going on there? Stephanie left. Stephanie left. She's like, I'm already done.
In her room.
It really darkened. And Leila, I told you to turn the lights off.
I want to be able to see me.
Well, then, do you want a candle?
Because I am narcissist, and this is my this little square is my.
I can do that. Leila, do you want this? Do you want to do this? I look a skeleton there.
Because you are one.
Will this make it more scary if I hold a candle underneath me, or is it?
Yeah, do it. I like it.
Well, I'd like to know what Stephanie thinks.
It's spooky.
Okay. All right, then let's do it. Well, I have all the lights off. It's daytime, but when I shut the curtains, it gets like very, very dark in here. I'm holding an artificial candle underneath my chin to add to the spookiness. In my little narcissist window, I look like a skeleton. All my bones are just very pronounced in my face. Yeah, and I've got this like red light glowing behind me for Halloween. Well, Stephanie, I recently heard of another haunted doll tale. And there's a lot of haunted dolls out there, apparently. But this is one I had never heard about. And I thought, because you had shared with us that bone-tingling tale of Robert, the doll, I wanted to share one with you and see what you think. See if you get scared.
I love it.
All right, then let's do this. The story I'm going to tell you about is the haunted Elsa doll. Please tell. Okay, so you haven't heard of from Frozen? Is that what you asked?
Yeah.
You're right. It's a haunted Elsa doll from Frozen. Okay, so this is a story that came to us in the months before COVID hit. It went viral in January of 2020. To me, it's a harbinger of all the darkness that was to come. The viral post, it was on Facebook. It was posted by a woman named Emily Madonia. And the story that I have put together, it's from a few sources, but I want to just go ahead and just, make sure that I acknowledge them. It's from Scary Mommy, a news outlet in Houston, and from Vice. So this story has spread. And I am shocked that I hadn't heard this story before, and I'm shocked that you guys haven't either, because I feel like we're pretty up to date on our hauntings, on our domestic hauntings. So, okay, well, this story starts off in Texas, where Emily Madonia gifted her little girl an Elsa doll for Christmas in 2013. Like any other family would. The movie's very popular. The doll was from a line that sang and spoke dialogue from the movie. according to Emily Madonia, according to Emily, you could choose which language you wanted the doll to speak or sing in. For the first 2 years, the doll spoke only in English. But by 2015, 2 years later, it started alternating between Spanish and English without any switches or anything being pressed. It just automatically decided to be bilingual, pretty much. And then, right before they decided to get rid of it, which is a few years later, getting closer to 2020, it would only speak in Spanish. It wouldn't speak in any other language. And then eventually, it just stopped singing. So it would only speak in Spanish. And it would talk whenever it wanted to. So it didn't matter what if you pressed a button or not, it would just automatically start talking. And I tried to imagine what that probably sounded like. I feel like it probably sounded a little bit like this.
Quiero ayudarles.
You know, just imagine that, you know? That's all I feel like I hear whenever I think about this story. So it should be noted that in the time that this family owned this doll, it was about 6 years, they'd actually never changed the batteries. So it'd been operating for this long. We don't know how. Batteries always give out, especially in kids' toys. They play with them so much. But Emily was not immediately concerned because it is a toy and toys will malfunction. We've seen, you know, electronic appliances malfunction all the time. We're used to it. We don't immediately go to it's a haunted. Maybe Leila and I probably go straight to it's haunted, but normal people out there don't.
Furbies. You know how creepy Furbies used to get?
I still want a Furby. I haven't outgrown that. I still want one so bad. So according to Emily, they decided to get rid of it, not because of the malfunctioning or any of that. It was just because the kids had started to outgrow it. They were getting rid of old toys. They were making room for eventual new toys. It was just before Christmas in 2019. She didn't really think twice. Her daughter wasn't playing with it anymore. According to her, she said it was so old and germy, and she had already colored on it with her markers. It seemed useless to donate, so it went into the garbage bin outside. And that was that. 2 weeks later, they lost something in their house. They're looking for it. They have a wooden bench in their living room. The wooden bench is covered in books and all this stuff that usually they don't move around. The wooden bench isn't normally open, but she decided to open it that day to look for what they lost. What do you think she found inside? The Elsa doll. She said that her husband was the one that found it, and he actually yelled. He was so terrified because they had thrown it away. It had been 2 weeks. And how did it get in there? Like, they have small children. It's a heavy wooden bench. The kids aren't trying to play a prank on them. She said her husband yelled and she came running in. He was so terrified. He put on rubber gloves. He double bagged the doll and he threw her out again. They threw her out on garbage day. They actually watched the truck come and take it away.
I just want to mention one thing.
Yeah.
Stephanie has also read How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. What's his name? Pupkin?
Kakawiwi.
Okay, the fact that they didn't do that first with Kakawiwi, but anyway.
But Kakawiwi, but Pupkin kept coming back. Like, it didn't matter what you did. Remember, he ended up in in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Which I feel like it kind of ties into this, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So, throw the doll away. They double bag it. It's in the trash. They watch it. It's taken away. They go traveling for a little bit. Everything's fine. And then they come back home after a few weeks. And her daughter comes up to her and she says, "Mom, I saw the Elsa doll again in the backyard." And sure enough, she was there. The picture that she took of the doll when she found her again in the backyard. And this is when she actually ended up posting it. She was like, "Guys, I need help. Like, this doll." she's like, this doll just will not leave my family
But it doesn't
alone.
look like it doesn't look like it's been markered on. Like, show it again. It looks like a new doll. It looks like a new Elsa. It looks cute.
I mean, it
doesn't
looks
look
kind of
haunted.
grimy. To me, it looks kind of grimy.
What do you think?
That's the
Stephanie?
picture. That's the picture. There's more.
I want to hear what Stephanie thinks about the picture.
Oh yeah, what do you think about the picture?
It does look pretty clean, but we're also looking at your phone screen virtually through.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Also, she could have washed herself off. You don't know. Maybe she didn't like how she looked.
So this is what the woman said, because people were doubting that image, and she said, the doll has some marker on her from my daughter coloring over the years, so I know that the doll that reappeared was original and not a replacement. She was just like, yes, could it be a prank? She's like, sure. She's like, but I just don't understand how it was possible when we saw the garbage truck take it away. And she's like, I want to believe that this is a person doing this to us, but she's like, even that is very terrifying. That means someone's been lurking around my house. She's like, either way, I'm terrified, because if it's not haunted, then there's someone coming into my house or coming into my backyard to keep replacing this doll. In and of itself is a terrifying thought.
Scarier, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So, and people were like, oh, you guys are doing this on purpose. And she was like, no, this has been one of the most stressful events of my life. She was like, I'm not a spiritual person, but this is legitimately scary. She's like, her husband, she said, has lost legitimate nights of sleep over this. But like, her kids are so young, they don't understand. To them, they're like, oh, it's a game. Elsa just keeps coming back. But the parents, they're just like, no, you don't understand. Like, this is not something you want to play with. And also, as happens with children, they're so susceptible to these things because why? They're playful. They don't know that it could be something dangerous,
Elsa could not
let it go. That was like every headline that I saw.
Oh, well, I don't feel
very sorry,
smart
Leila.
or clever at all.
So she was like, okay, well, this is it. Like, she'd had it. And so when she initially posted on Facebook, she had a friend named Chris Hogan who said, you know what, send it to me. Because he was like, he's a skeptic. He doesn't believe it. He's like, just send me the doll. And so she was like, fine. So she said that probably the most creeped out that she'd ever been by the doll is the day that she was boxing it up. She said it laughed for about 30 seconds straight. Usually it would have a little giggle after saying something, but it has never laughed like that before, and that chilled me to the bone. My husband and I both looked at it in horror before we taped the box shut, drove it to the post office, and mailed it off. She didn't put a return address or anything on it. She was that scared. She was like, I just want this out of my house. I mean, imagine like every day you don't know where this thing is gonna pop up. And sure, your kids are having fun, but like you're like, there is something sinister going on here. Again, either this doll is haunted or someone's been watching us and doing this to us. It's amazing that something so small and insignificant can have this, pull this emotion out of you of just every day waking up, not knowing, what's going to happen.
Also, Elsa doesn't really laugh. Like I don't know if you've seen Frozen, Ruby. I know Stephanie has because she's.
It's the doll. Yeah. So you can't see the picture of the doll. It's like you know how they have like a toddler version.
Yeah, but I think what makes it creepy to me is that like Elsa's character is like very humorless throughout like 80% of the movie, and then she becomes nice. Like she thaws at the end a little bit.
It's not like a Tickle Me Elmo doll or something.
Yeah, so it's like already unusual that Elsa would laugh anyway. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they. Anyway, I don't want to say they like. Make her friendlier seeming just for like merch, but like already Elsa laughing is strange.
Yeah, she shouldn't be. And there's more. Character. There's definitely more, and I would be really curious what you guys think. So she mailed it off, and they asked the friend that she's mailed it off to. His name is Chris Hogan. He was like straight up. He was like, "Look, I don't believe in this stuff, but." He's like, if anything weird happens, I'm wielding her to a steel pipe and sinking her in the lake of the woods. He was just like, she needs to be gone. And then the woman, Emily, she said, well, if the doll comes back, she's like, I might have to open my mind to some of the more supernatural solutions. And so people were like, trying to poke holes, whatever. And they said, well, why don't you just burn if you want it to go away, why don't you burn the doll? We saw what happened with Pumpkin she wrote, because it does no good. If there is something in the doll, it will come out. You can't destroy what's inside. And so I was reading an article in Vice that covered it, and they actually went and they had a woman named Kat Bowers come. They interviewed her about this situation. It was the first time I'd seen an article where they actually brought in an expert on this. She investigates haunted items and safely rehomes them, which I've actually heard a lot about. There are people out there that do that. She said, when they told her what the whole story was and she'd read up on it, she said, this is not typical behavior of all haunted dolls. She said, this is what we would consider a troubled spirit or possibly a negative entity. She said she believed that it was inhabited by a dead soul that was holding on, possibly because of some unfinished business, which, we've heard a lot about that. She said, this doll has an entity attached that either needs help because the spirit inside is clinging to the living in the hopes that someone will keep loving them and showing them attention, or the spirit is seeking someone who can help them cross over. And for me, that part about the attention, that's where I think like things like the giggling comes in, or even the fact that it switched languages. Like it could be a spirit that's trying to be heard. But then she also added, or it could be a demon. At that point, all bets are off. You can't reason with that type of spirit. She said, nothing is more important than that gut feeling. It will feel as if you are sharing space with another person and not a doll. You will feel as if someone is there with you. And that to me makes sense for everything that I read, like all the interviews I read of Emily. Like she felt like her life was being taken over by this little doll. So flash forward to October 2020, a news channel checked in on Emily, and she said, they asked, did she return? Have you noticed anything? She said, no, she hasn't come back. We have had our fair share of weird things happening around the house though, like doors opening and closing by themselves and lights and the TV turning on and strange things like that. So my question is, was Kat Bowers right? Was there an entity trapped inside the doll? And before it was shipped away, did it find a means of escape? I tried to check on these old Facebook posts, but they're gone. So I don't know. I can't follow the story. I don't know what happened. But could there have been something that made Emily want to delete these posts and just never talk about it again? And that's the end of my story.
Wait, so she gave it to her friend and he put it on a steel beam and drowned it?
He said he was going to if it started to act haunted. I don't know. I can't follow him either.
But why didn't it come back? So it worked? Whatever thing that he did worked? Why did he want that doll?
Because he was just like, this is fun.
Or alternatively, if the spirit did leave the doll
That's what I was saying. If there's things happening in their house, and this was in October of 2020 that they said that there were things. To me, my theory is, what if the doll, like the spirit inside the doll, found a way to escape because it knew it was being sent away, and the man probably didn't experience anything. I don't know. I haven't been able to check up on that.
But he just like took the doll. So it didn't go to that one woman who like de-haunts objects.
No, he just took it, and he was going to put it on his car, like the thing on his car.
The grill,
yeah. But he said if anything happens,
very dumb.
Yeah, like that's one way to piss off a demon or ghost.
Yeah, but from the fact that there's been things happening in their house, like I think when he got the doll, the spirit had already left, and that's my theory. But I can't find those posts, so I don't know what happened after October 2020. I haven't found anything.
There's been no like retrospective or anything?
No.
does she still have an active Facebook account?
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't have Facebook, but I know you can normally, they were linking to her Facebook posts about it because she was like, that's what went viral, was her talking about it.
Yeah.
But there's, it was
when
like
you
this
when you
post
were
has been
linked out,
removed.
they've all been removed. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder why they were removed.
I don't want to know why they were removed. So that's my story.
No, I would hate if that happened to me. I'm a very jumpy person to begin with. Like,
that's what I mean, is like, I'm a jumpy too. So imagine that every day you don't know if this thing is going to come back, and you don't want to stumble upon it because you're probably going to have a heart attack, you know? Just living in that fear and uncertainty.
Are you jumpy also because we have cats, so we have to, so like somehow like those just jump up on things and you're like, oh, okay, it's just you.
I feel like having cats has made me less jumpy. You know what I mean? Because it's like, to me, nothing's scarier than when you hear something and I'm like, oh my God, all three cats are with me. No, normally I hear a crash in the night and it's like, well, what'd you knock down? Do I have to get up or not? But I'm also the sort of person where if I'm like focused, I get up early, I'm reading whatever, my husband will come out and say good morning to me and I'll be like, oh my God, I was not sneaking up on you. I was saying good morning. I thought you heard me. I think what's scariest about that story actually is that they initially weren't concerned and only got rid of it because, they were just decluttering or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, they've never changed the battery in 8 years. It's still talking. It's, it's glitch. And I mean, toys glitch. Like, I get it. But I think I'd be a lot more suspicious of their fear, whatever the truth is of their genuine fear or not, if they were like, that was weird. But it was more like, yeah, it's a toy, and then suddenly it got.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like, it is something to me where it's like, oh, we're just a routine decluttering, and then wait a minute, how did this get here? This is weird. We threw this, we saw ourselves throw it out. Like, I would also scream if I saw it, especially if it was something that had already been malfunctioning. Honestly, there was probably something in the back of their heads while it was malfunctioning that they just kind of pushed away.
Oh yeah, like
it's easy to do that.
Our niece and nephew, like, we were in high school and our niece and nephews were, our oldest niece and nephew were like toddlers, and they had a lot of toys, and we would kind of like crack up at how creepy when the batteries would start to drain, like they would sound like that audio clip Ruby you played. We would kind of crack up at it and be like, oh, it's possessed, and so like definitely they would have started getting freaked out. They threw it out because their kids outgrew the toy, but also probably couldn't wait to throw it out and get rid of that damn thing if it was like creeping them out, for sure. But yeah, like toys do sound creepy, like when the batteries start to go, like it does get that way. So,
and there's almost something creepier about it looking so innocuous, like the real Annabelle doll is like a Raggedy Ann, right? And for the movies, they're like, we are going to make the most horrifying.
No, I agree. I agree. When it's like sweet looking, it actually is scarier because it's the unexpected.
And they made the Annabelle doll, like the first one, she's creepy, but they made her steadily creepier in the movies. Like, she got even like they added extra shadow to the doll's face and stuff to make her almost like sentient looking, like a person.
And I mean, that would be scary to see, but it's like if you see a Disney character and that's just something you don't think of, but suddenly it's laughing at you while you're like boxing it up. Like,
and it's just like, and you think, oh, it's just Elsa, but yeah. Did the family speak Spanish?
I don't know. I can't tell. They may have, but I know that the doll.
Texas.
I think the doll was. This doll was sold in an English and Spanish speaking version. I think they bought the English version, but then it started speaking English and Spanish, and it only spoke. And that to me is, what if, again, if there was a spirit, it was trying to figure out ways to communicate with this family.
Yeah, and those toys are super basic. It's not like someone can hack it. They're just like a little box, and then you just press a button.
There's
and,
like she wears like a necklace, and you press like the jewel on the necklace. I started looking because that doll isn't made anymore, and I actually started looking at it. And you can like find it like on eBay. I was very curious just to buy my own Elsa doll and see what happens. But maybe I'm better off not doing that, especially if it shows up and it's got marker on it.
Some producer at Pixar pissed the demon off, and it was like, I'm gonna haunt all of these Elsa dolls.
I haven't heard of any others. I've only heard of this one.
Maybe they're too scared to come forward.
My theory is honestly that there was already like a entity in their home, and I think it used the doll.
Yeah.
And then when that didn't work, it left the doll, and it stayed with that family. So it's attached to that family, and it's probably likely attached to the child as well, because the children didn't feel any. It's got like a tingle up the back of my head just talking about it, but the child
I got chill just now too.
The child just didn't seem concerned, and that's always what happens.
Paul says when you shiver, like when you get a chill, it's a ghost walking through you. So that tells you everything you need to know. Okay, so our ratings, as a reminder, the lowest rating is I think I'll be able to sleep tonight. The medium rating is some chills, which both me and Ruby just got.
Got it from my own story.
Yeah, and then the scariest one is, what is it? Some chills. Scared shitless.
Yeah. Damn. We took a long break from this pod.
Yeah. Scared shitless. So Stephanie, you want to go first?
I'm going to go with scared shitless. Because if I was looking for something and something I threw out actively 2 weeks ago appeared, I would not handle that well.
You're too kind.
I would also go with scared shitless because but also I think when things that look human, like a doll, or even laptops don't look human, but when electronics malfunction, it freaks me out because that's like how ghosts communicate with you.
Yeah, like a voice box. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's why we have EVP and EMF readers.
Yeah.
And that was one thing I saw on Vice, is they were like, they should have used an EMF reader on the doll.
Yeah, and pick up amidst the crinkly audio, like what it's really trying to say.
That'd be the EVP, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are so kind. Thank you. It's so funny because I've been looking for scary stories to tell, and I don't think I had been planning to tell a story this time. But then I was like, I've got to tell Stephanie because we've got to keep the doll theme going here, or haunted object theme rather. And I was reading it, and the story, as you can tell, it was a pretty short story. There really wasn't much out there. It really struck me. I was really scared, and I think for me, and malfunctioning toys. I think we're going to always have a fear of toys because of Uncanny Valley, especially when they're kind of human looking. But also, you remember that old Twilight Zone episode, Talking Tina. I'm Talking Tina, and I'm going to kill you.
Yeah. I think it's
so dolls,
it's things that can speak, because that can be manipulated.
I think dolls will always be scary. That's why we have so many haunted dolls. So that already was a part of it. And then the part where it just started singing in Spanish, even though that wasn't even like a setting, that to me, I mean, we have so many Spanish language horror movies. There is a lot of spirituality in Spanish speaking countries. I mean, it just brings me back to
But it's also Texas, where obviously, we grew up in Texas, and Spanish is so incredibly dominant, but basically the number one language in Texas, and so it could be a spirit, a Spanish speaking spirit. So,
and then for me, the fact that it kept coming back, it's like, sure, that's not too different from other haunted object stories, but it was when she said that they had started experiencing some things in their home afterwards. I was like, it attached itself to this family.
It's just making me think of Pumpkin.
Should we give a background on that book so people can read it?
I think you should cut out any spoilers you may have kind of referenced during the the recording of this.
Yeah, we might. Or maybe we'll just do a spoiler alert.
Or we could do a spoiler alert in the show notes. But we don't give, I mean, people don't know, but it's obvious. I mean, if you're going to find a haunted doll, you're going to do whatever you can to get rid of it. But it's a horror novel by Grady Hendrix about a woman who goes back to her hometown to sell her parents' house, but it's haunted. And there's a creepy little puppet named Pumpkin. And yeah, I think that book, I know I recommend it to both of you because
it's really scary.
Yeah, and it just like, it's so unforgettable.
It takes like a minute to get into because I feel like it kind of starts out like, here's the family drama, and then when it hits and does not let up.
Yeah, Pumpkin just holds on for dear life. So yeah, well, Ruby, thank you for your tale. That was great. Definitely going to not make any more Elsa jokes today.
Thanks so much for listening. If you'd like to get in touch, you can reach us at podcomplaywithus@gmail.com.
We'd love to hear from our listeners. So if you have real life ghost stories or paranormal encounters and you think it'll scare the shit out of us, please send them in. Until next time, goodbye.
Bye.